In this video, we'll be taking a look at 3 NBA games happening on January 10th, 2026, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games, so 6 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 3 NBA games after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start, if you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. Minnesota Timberwolves versus Cleveland Cavaliers. The Timberwolves head into this matchup short-handed, with Mike Conley already ruled out and Anthony Edwards and Julius Randle both listed as questionable for now. The Cavaliers are again missing Max Strus and Dean Wade, so neither side is exactly at full strength. Minnesota has been the side in better form lately, which is why a lot of people will instinctively lean their way. But that picture changes fast if 2 of their key guys are either limited or sitting. So it really is one of those spots where checking confirmed lineups before tip-off is not just a formality, it actually matters. You have probably heard the old line about how hard it is to beat the same team twice. Now shrink that window into a back-to-back rematch, and the challenge ramps up even more. Minnesota just beat Cleveland by 9 a couple of days ago in Minneapolis, and that final margin is what most of the market will have fresh in mind. Here is the thing, though, this game does not share the same context, which is a big reason Cleveland shows up as the favorite this time. For starters, the venue flips to Cleveland. That matters because the Timberwolves have a strong home court presence, so dragging them out of their building levels things out a bit. Second, that first game was not as straightforward as the box score suggests. The whole thing basically swung on one defining stretch in the third quarter. These teams were essentially neck and neck at halftime. Then Minnesota exploded for 43 points in the third, while Cleveland mustered only 22. That one frame created the gap on the scoreboard. Outside of that stretch, the Cavaliers more than held their own. And it was not just empty resistance. Cleveland actually clawed back from a 19-point hole late in the third to get the margin down to 4 with about a minute left. That late push matters because it shows Cleveland can figure out Minnesota's defensive looks and put together extended winning stretches of basketball against them, even inside a game that they eventually lose. The key detail here is timing. Cleveland does not have to store those lessons away for a week and hope they still apply. They get another shot at the same opponent right away, on their own floor, with very clear adjustments to lean on. If you strip out that one disastrous quarter, the Cavs have a very real path not just to staying inside a number, but to controlling more of the game. Yet because the last result was a Minnesota win, there is a natural recency bias that makes Cleveland feel like the risky side to back. That is exactly why there is value in their direction, even as the chalk. With the uncertainty hanging over the Timberwolves lineup and the difficulty of beating the same team twice in a row, especially when the venue flips, the setup quietly tilts toward the home side finding a way to respond. As our first pick for this matchup, the Cleveland Cavaliers to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. The Minnesota Timberwolves are averaging 119.6 points on 48% shooting from the field, while allowing 114.1 points on 45.6% shooting. From beyond the arc, Minnesota is hitting 36.4% of its threes and connecting on 76.2% at the free throw line. On the other side of the ball, the Timberwolves are allowing opponents to shoot 35% from deep and are pulling down 44.8 rebounds per game. The Cleveland Cavaliers are putting up 119.2 points on 46.6% shooting and giving up 116.8 points on 46.1% shooting. They are shooting 35.1% from three-point range and 78% at the free throw line. Defensively, the Cavaliers are allowing 37.8% from beyond the arc and are grabbing 45.1 rebounds per game. On paper, those scoring averages suggest plenty of points, and honestly, anyone just glancing at the raw numbers might lean toward expecting a high-scoring game. But this is where context kicks in. A quick rematch often comes with more targeted defensive adjustments, more familiarity with the opponent's sets, and a little more pride on that end of the floor, especially from the team that just lost. The injury cloud over some key offensive pieces also introduces a real chance that shot creation is less fluid than those season averages suggest. So while the stat lines look friendly to offense at first glance, the combination of recent familiarity, tweaks in game plan, and possible absences creates a reasonable path for the final total to land below the projected number. As our second pick for this matchup, under the projected total is our full game total pick. Miami Heat versus Indiana Pacers. The Miami Heat come into this matchup with a clean injury report, while the Indiana Pacers are already without Benedict Mathurin, Tyrese Halliburton, and Isaiah Jackson, and have Andrew Nembhard listed as questionable. Indiana did manage to scrape out a much-needed win over the Charlotte Hornets in their last outing, more for their confidence than anything, but before that they were absolutely ice-cold. Now Miami finds itself heading back on the road to Indiana on Saturday night after getting an unexpected extra 2 days of rest from the postponement of their game against Chicago. The Heat have been banged up and worn down like just about every team at this stage of the season, so those extra 48 hours to reset the legs and recharge the batteries could quietly matter a lot here. The last time we saw them, they were flat in a blowout loss to Minnesota, managing only 94 points and never really threatening. Facing this Pacers group should feel very different, since Indiana owns the league's 6th worst defensive efficiency and sits just 29th in offensive rating, which tilts the matchup toward Miami finding cleaner looks and more comfortable possessions. Rick Carlisle finally got himself into Club 1000 when his Pacers stopped a brutal 13-game losing streak with that win over the Hornets, and he had been stuck on that milestone since December 8th, which tells you how rough this campaign has been. Trying to follow that up by beating the Heat is a very different challenge, especially for a team that has dropped 7 straight at home and has managed to cover in only 3 of its last 10 home games against this same opponent. How often do you see a team lose that many in its own building and then suddenly flip a switch against a rested, focused visitor? The first meeting between these teams a little under 2 weeks ago turned into a nightmare for Indiana, as they allowed 142 points in a 26-point blowout defeat. Sure, this Pacers team can occasionally spring an upset when the shots fall and the building comes alive. But looking at this specific spot against Miami, it just does not feel like the night where that script changes. The Heat are coming off back-to-back losses to Minnesota. They are hungry to steady the ship, and winning games like this is a clear priority if they want to stay firmly in the Eastern Conference playoff picture. These sides most recently met on December 27th, and Miami ran away with a 142-116 win, so it is perfectly reasonable to expect something in that same neighborhood again if the Pacers' defense looks anything like it did in that matchup. As our first pick for this matchup, the Miami Heat to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. The Miami Heat are averaging 120.1 points on 46.9% shooting from the field, while giving up 117.4 points on 45.9% shooting. From beyond the arc, Miami is connecting on 37% of its three-point attempts and hitting 79.3% at the free throw line. Defensively, the Heat are allowing opponents to shoot 34.4% from deep and are pulling down 45.6 rebounds per game. The Indiana Pacers, on the other hand, are averaging 110.8 points on 44.1% shooting and allowing 119.7 points on 48.6% shooting. From long range, Indiana is making 33.8% of its threes and converting 77.2% at the foul line. The Pacers are allowing 34.2% shooting from deep and are grabbing 42.5 rebounds per game. On paper, those Heat scoring numbers might tempt you to expect a free-flowing, high-scoring game, but the broader context slows that idea down. Miami is coming off that 94-point effort against Minnesota, and while that was a bad night, it is a reminder that their offense can run hot and cold, especially when the rhythm is not quite there. Indiana's situation points in the same cautious direction, since this team was ice-cold for an extended stretch before the Hornets win and is sitting all the way down at 29th in offensive rating. With Benedict Mathurin, Tyrese Halliburton, and Isaiah Jackson ruled out and Andrew Nembhard tagged as questionable, the Pacers are missing a lot of shot creation and playmaking that normally helps push their totals higher. When you combine a banged-up Indiana backcourt, a Miami side that just had a low-scoring performance fresh in its mind, and 2 coaching staffs with a recent head-to-head game to pull adjustments from, there is a clear path to this matchup producing fewer points than the raw season averages suggest. As our second pick for this matchup, under the projected total is our full game total pick. Los Angeles Clippers versus Detroit Pistons. The Clippers come into this one still missing Bradley Beal, Derrick Jones Jr., and Bogdan Bogdanovic, while the Pistons have already ruled out Jalen Duren and Tobias Harris, with Cade Cunningham bumped up to questionable status. These teams last saw each other on December 28, when the Clippers cruised to a 112-99 home win that never really felt in doubt. They have been rolling nicely since that matchup, and if Cade Cunningham is held out again, it quietly tilts things their way even more, at least on paper. Now, here is the thing about this spot. The Clippers are on the second night of a back-to-back, and that is exactly the kind of schedule quirk where you would not be shocked if Kawhi Leonard or James Harden sits, or at least has the workload trimmed a bit. On top of that, the Pistons are not exactly the opponent you want when your legs are tired, since their defensive pressure, even when the results are mixed, has a way of making every possession feel like a small grind. That said, the Clippers have been an absolute covering machine lately, stacking wins and tickets in a way that makes it hard to just shrug and look the other way because of a back-to-back. There is also the trend that keeps nudging you. The Clippers are 9-1 straight up against the Pistons over their last 10 meetings, including that 13-point victory a couple of weeks ago. History is not everything, but when one side consistently controls the matchup, it usually reflects something real in how the styles clash. This game has the feel of a tight one. Honestly, I can see the Pistons squeezing out a narrow win at home, especially if they catch the Clippers at less than full strength or if the late-game whistle tilts their way. But if you expect it to go down to the wire like that, you naturally want every point you can get with the underdog. Checking the injury report close to tip is non-negotiable here, because a surprise scratch on either side changes the whole feel of the spread. Still, based on the current form of the Clippers and the way they have consistently handled this matchup, leaning toward the points with them makes the most sense. As our first pick for this matchup, the Los Angeles Clippers to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. The Los Angeles Clippers are averaging 115.8 points on 47.3% shooting and allowing 118.1 points on 47.4% shooting. They are hitting 36.5% of their three-point attempts and 84.3% from the free throw line. On the flip side, they are allowing opponents to shoot 37.6% from deep and are grabbing 41.6 rebounds per game. The Detroit Pistons are putting up 118.8 points per game on 48% shooting and giving up 112.7 points on 44.4% shooting. They are connecting on 35.1% from beyond the arc and 75.3% at the stripe. Defensively, the Pistons are allowing 35% shooting from three-point range and hauling in 46.3 rebounds per contest. When you look at those averages together, it paints a picture of two teams that are far more comfortable trading buckets than locking into long, grinding defensive stretches. Both sides shoot the ball well enough from the field, both allow healthy percentages on the other end, and neither profile screams low-scoring struggle. Add in the idea of tired legs for the Clippers on the back-to-back, which often shows up more on the defensive end than the offensive side, and you can easily imagine a game where closeouts are a half step late and rotations are just a little slow. At the same time, Detroit's ability to score, plus its weaker free throw percentage, still contributes to a high-tempo feel because of the volume of possessions and shots. So when you put it all together, the natural expectation leans toward a matchup where the offenses dictate the flow and the final total pushes above the projected number rather than creeping under it. As our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed, subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.